All right, good afternoon. Today we have Dr. Nakul Chitnis from the Swiss Tropical and Public Health Institute in Switzerland, and we're going to do a little interview and ask him some questions related to his profession, and then some questions related to the UCREA project that he's involved in. All right, Nakul, so just to start, what are your hobbies?
I really enjoy hiking and cycling and just going out into nature.
Okay, cool.
Switzerland's a great place for that.
All right. Why did you choose to study mathematics?
I think I've always really liked mathematics ever since I was a little kid, and somehow there was never anything else I would do.
Okay. So what if you had not studied math? What would your profession have been? Why and what would you do if you weren't doing math?
Probably physics.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, probably physics.
Physics, okay. That's
maybe astrophysics or some.
Okay, it's something related to science.
Yeah, somewhere in that area. Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. What is the thing that you like most about your job?
I really enjoy the mathematics itself, just the working through things, the mental challenge, trying to understand what's going on, and maybe just as much or in a different way what it does or the implications that has on public health and on improving people's lives.
Oh, excellent. So if you could change something in your profession, what would it be?
Maybe less bureaucracy, or sometimes I feel especially in academia, we're judged on things like how many publications you have or certain metrics, and very often to be successful then you follow those metrics instead of actually doing work that you think is more useful. True. And having maybe more. The problem is if you change the metric, then instead of publications it would be something else, but having a more rounded way of judging performance.
True. I agree.
At least theoretically, I have no idea how that would work in practice, but.
What is your specific line of research, and how can it be applied to the betterment of society?
So I work in mathematical epidemiology, so it's making mathematical models of infectious disease transmission, and using these models to compare different control interventions or look at which interventions are more appropriate in different settings or what goals are reasonable. So the obvious application to society is, through these models being able to inform policy in a way that leads to new policy decisions that prevent disease transmission or help reduce disease.
Oh, excellent. What advice would you give young individuals who are thinking about getting into mathematics?
I would say they should do it. They should follow mathematics. As far as I know, when they do surveys of happiness by different careers, I think mathematics usually comes towards the top. So if they're thinking of it, they should do it, and know that whatever their level of mathematics, they will reach a point where they're challenged. That it will always be interesting. It will always reach they will always be able to test their limits, and there are also just so many jobs that you can get as a mathematician that I think it's a great career to follow.
I agree. Now, more specific to the UCREA project that you're part of, in terms of modeling this vector-borne diseases in Costa Rica in specific, from your professional experience, what is the greatest what's the greatest impact of this project?
I think if it leads to an understanding of which areas of the country are most responsible for transmission, or which are maybe acting as sources of disease to the rest of the country, it would help public health officials know where to focus or where to target their resources. And secondly, it would allow a comparison of how all different interventions work and what these interventions could do, or what level of coverage or what threshold would be necessary, and what impact that would have on disease incidence.
What benefits can it bring to the University of Costa Rica?
I think it brings visibility. So if the university is actively involved in working with the Ministry of Health or in working with public health officials in reducing transmission of a disease that's, I think, by now very well known, and can be quite damaging to people, especially in its serious form. It shows that the university is working towards not only improving science and improving knowledge, but also working towards the betterment of people's health.
Correct. And could this model, based on the results that eventually might be obtained, be replicated in other countries?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think, of course, depending on what kind of data is available in different countries, you would, maybe you wouldn't be able to get the same level of detail, but a lot of the general principles that are learned from the model could very well be applied in other countries where dengue transmission is present.
Right. Now, every time we're looking at more applications of mathematics in the solutions of everyday problems of humans. In this particular case, in health topics, do you think it will be much more common from now on to use this kind of science to achieve this type of findings? And would that improve the quality of the people in the country?
I think very much so. I think globally there is, within the control or prevention of infectious diseases, there is a movement towards incorporating mathematical models or making use of mathematical models. Because I remember when I started in this field almost 20 years ago now, it seemed that modeling was looked at rather negatively, or there's nothing useful that could come out from modeling. And I think now the general environment is far more positive, and I think there is an acceptance that in the end people make decisions, and they have to make decisions when they're in a Ministry of Health or in a program like that. And sometimes these decisions are rational, sometimes it's based on whatever intuition that people have, and if they've been working in the field for a while, they do usually often have good intuition, but modeling can really help to rationalize these decision-making processes. And I think with time that's only going to increase, because it's a way to make better decisions, and with time, and especially as modeling is used more, the modeling also improves, so the input that it provides also gets better with time. So I think this can only get better. Excellent.
Well, thank you very much, Nakul, for taking the time to talk to us a little bit about yourself and the project.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me here, and it's great to be here in Costa Rica.
Thanks.